The ultimate side hustle, credit card piggybacking, coming up. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy, and on this channel we give you health and wealth tips to help you be more successful. Today I want to talk about credit card piggybacking. I was talking to my friend Dr. Sean about 3 years ago, and we were talking about side hustles and ideas for my side hustle book, and he started telling me about a podcast where he heard about credit card piggybacking, and I just happened to be writing this book on credit repair and making money with credit cards at the time. So I was all ears, and he taught me about credit card piggybacking. So over the last 3 years, I started researching it, I started trying it, I started recommending it to friends and family, and I included it in my book, my credit book. So this gives you some pretty precise details on how to do it, how to go about doing it as a business. And you know, it's funny because for most people, it's hard to try new things. And with credit cards, it sounds scary adding someone to your credit. So let me explain a little bit what it's about. What is it? Well, think about when you want to buy a car or buy a house or rent an apartment or do anything like that. You need credit. That's why credit is fundamental to making money in the United States. You really need to have good credit. That's why you see so many people doing credit repair businesses and everything else. And if you need help with that, you know, picking up a book like this where everything is simplified really helps out because it cuts to the chase, helps you improve your credit. And I'll be posting some more videos on credit just so I can help out a little bit on that, because that seems like one of the things that people ask me about the most. You know, I talk about investing and all these other things, but credit is like the foundation for everything. And that seems to be where a lot of people get stuck. So let's say you're trying to rent an apartment or you're trying to buy a car and they want you to have a certain credit score. And let's say your credit score is like, we'll say 600, and you're like, wow, I need a 700. How am I gonna get there? Well, this book will give you some strategies on how to improve it and how to get your credit score up. But an easy way is just to do credit card piggyback. What you do is you talk to one of your friends or family, or you hire a credit repair agency, and they add you as an authorized user to someone else's credit account. So let's say I have this eBay credit card here, and I have excellent credit, and I have a credit line for, let's say, $20,000, and I've had it for 10 years. I've never been late. It's always paid on time. And I add you, or I add my cousin Bob onto my account as an authorized user. The credit card company will actually mail me a credit card with their name on it. That's why I have all these cards here. I have tons of them. And they'll mail it to me, so they won't mail it to that person. That's one thing that freaks a lot of people out. They're like, hey, why am I gonna add strangers to my credit card account? They're gonna have a credit card, they're gonna go out spending. That never happens, never. They always mail the cards out to the principal account holder's address. So I get all the cards, even though I add people that are from different states or wherever they're from. So I actually work with credit repair companies because I'm pretty busy. I don't have time to do credit repair myself, even though that's also really good business. So they'll get clients and they'll email me and they'll say, hey, Ernesto, we have this person. They need to get their credit score up from 600 to 700. They want to rent this apartment. We'll pay you like $400 to add their name to your account. I go online on my laptop. I add their name on. It takes me about a minute or less. And I add all their information as much as you can. Add their social, their date of birth, their address. Don't worry, they're not going to mail them a card. And as much information as you can add on, and double check it, like triple, quadruple check it. Make sure you don't misspell the name or anything. Once they get added to your account, if I have had this $20,000 credit card for 10 years and I've always been on time, the credit reporting agencies will cut and paste that information off my account and paste it onto their account. So you'll see an immediate surge in their credit score from 1 month to the next. Usually it takes a few weeks, but it could take a month. And that allows them to rent that apartment, buy that car, get that loan, whatever business they want to do. A lot of times saving them thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in interest. So a credit repair agency may charge them $800 to add their name on here, and they usually give me about 40%. So I would get 40% of $800, about $320, let's say, and the credit repair agency would get the rest. Now again, you could do it yourself, but I don't have a lot of time, so I just let other people market it and do it, and then they send me authorized users. Now, how much can you make? Well, I want you to take a look at this chart here. This is a typical chart of, what I might get, let's say, for some of my credit cards, or someone else that I've taught might get on their credit cards. But like my friend Dr. Sean, he's made up to $12,000 a month doing credit card piggybacking. I've seen the range go anywhere from like $2,000 to $7,000 a month. Now that's a lot of money. Extra money that you can get for your investments, for buying real estate, for whatever it is you're into that you want to invest in. It's quite a bit. Now, what determines how much you get in terms of credit card piggybacking? Well, it depends on the card, how long you've had it, how good the credit history is for that card, not your credit history, because of course you have to have good credit to be able to get credit cards, but they don't really look at my credit history. They look at the history of that card. If you ever look at your credit report, it'll have each one of your credit cards listed, and it'll show how long the account's been open, what's the high, like what's the most you spent on it, like 10,000 or 14,000 or whatever, and it'll say whether or not you paid on time. If you've always paid on time, that's a very favorable trade line, they call them. They call them trade lines, the credit lines. That information is valuable. Now, what determines the value of the trade line is how long you've had the account, how much you have in credit, and if you've paid on time. So I have a card that has like $65,000 limit on it. I've had it for about 20 years. That's a valuable trade line. I get paid about $750 for adding one person to that trade line. That's quite a bit. If I add 2 or 3 a month, that's already $1,500 to $2,250 a month. It's quite a bit. Now, those people, they're called authorized users. They have to actually post your account for you to get paid. If they don't post, you're not getting paid. So that's why you want to make sure that you're very concise with all the information and that it's accurate, that you don't make mistakes. Now, I try to add them most of the time through the computer because I'm busy and I don't want to waste time on the phone. But to be honest, the best strategy is to call and do it on the phone, because a lot of times online you cannot enter some details like the social security number. But when you do it over the phone, they'll take everything. They'll take their social, their date of birth, everything. And again, the more information you provide, the more likely the credit agencies are able to locate that person and basically give them that credit from your account, the credit of your good payment history. What happens after you add them? Well, their credit score boosts up. It'll go from, let's say, 600 to 700. Now, the more they pay, the older the credit line and the more value it has. Like instead of like a $5,000 credit card or $10,000, they can pay for a $50,000 or a $60,000 or $100,000 credit card. So all of them have different values. Again, it's going to be the age, the credit history for that card, or basically the payment history, and how much of a credit line you have on it. So you want to try to mature those credit lines. A lot of this information is in the book, but I typically recommend asking for credit line increases about every 3 months for every card. You also want to make sure that you use all the cards. If you don't use your cards, a lot of times the credit card companies will reduce your credit line. They'll just send you a letter and say, hey, we reduced your credit line. You're like, oh man, that kills it. So what I do, I go to the market or I go online, and let's say I'm buying $100 of groceries. I'll get 10 cards and I'll split the bill into 10. So not cool for the people that are in line behind me because they have to wait, but it's really beneficial. You want to use the cards as much as possible. I try to use all the cards at least once a week, if not more. And every once in a while, I try to make big purchases on all of them. If you don't use the cards and you're not making purchases, but you're adding people, that's going to look weird. And the credit card company can close down your account. So you don't really want to tell them that you're doing it as a business. Now, it is legal to add people. It's not against the law, because I researched it. It's totally legal to add people to your credit line. But they don't like people doing it because you're kind of monkeying around or working your way around the credit system, and they don't like that. It's kind of like a loophole. So they're not going to encourage you to do it. So they're going to ask you what the relationship is. And I know some of the people that I work with, they just always click on other, or they click a cousin or something like that. Now, after you've had them on for about a month, sometimes 2 months, some of the credit repair companies I worked with, they want you to keep them on for 2 months. The person gets that credit, and then you just remove them from your credit card. You go online or you call in and you say, hey, I want to remove, Joe Blow off my account. So what happens to them? Well, basically from the point that you remove them, that credit line will cut off, but they still keep it on their credit for 7 years. They get the benefit. So if I had this credit card and I had a $10,000 limit and I've had it for 10 years and I added them on and it boosted them up to to 700 for say, and then I cut them off in a month, they're not going to get anything from that point forward in terms of credit. Like if I keep paying it on time and the card keeps getting older and I keep getting like credit line increases on it, stuff like that, they're not going to get credit for that. But it's going to stop right there, and it's still going to stay on their credit. They're going to get that benefit for 7 years. So it's quite a good deal for the people that buy them. In terms of a side hustle, I mean, this is one of the easiest things you could do, and you can make several $1,000s a month off it. Like I said, you want to try to get as many credit cards as you can with different banks. For example, if you have 4 Citibank cards, do not use more than one. Just use one card for bank. They don't like you to have too many credit lines. So my suggestion is, if you have, for example, a Citibank card, don't apply for another one. Just one is enough. Apply for a Chase and a Wells Fargo, and a PNC or whatever the bank is, Flagstar Bank. Just keep getting different cards with different banks, one for bank. Now, these credit agencies are gonna keep writing to you, hey, can you add this person? And you're gonna be excited. You're gonna be like, wow, I'm gonna get $300 or $700 just for adding someone's name to my credit card. I'm gonna do it. Don't do it. Just keep this in mind. Pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. So don't be greedy. I recommend not adding more than 2 people a month per card. Once in a while, I may add 3, but most of the time it's 2, because if you get your cards closed, that's it. You get your cards closed. My friend Dr. Sean, he was making about $12,000 a month. He was loading up all his cards, selling all the trade lines, and adding authorized users. They closed all his accounts. I don't think he has any credit cards anymore, so he's making 0 now. So versus making $12,000, I prefer to take this steady approach and make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, or whatever it is, depending on how many credit cards you have, and just do it gradually over time. Have this reliable income and use it for stuff. And in the meantime, you just keep using all your cards. Try to pay off your cards right away. I go online, I make payments every week on my credit cards. That's in the book also. That helps boost up your credit score. But it's gonna help you with your credit cards also, because your credit cards, when you try to get new credit cards, they're gonna wanna see your credit score. A good way to discover new credit cards that you may qualify for is to download the app Credit Karma. They have credit card offers on there. Click on those, because a lot of those you're pre-approved for, so they're easy to get. Another thing is mailers. I get offers for credit cards in the mail. I used to just toss them all and recycle them, but actually those are really good, because those tend to have a really high acceptance rate, because they've already kind of pre-screened you and they have like authorization codes on them. So those are actually easy to qualify for. So look through those when they come in the mail. If it's a bank that you don't have, get that credit card. Ask for credit increases every 3 months. Use all your credit cards and make frequent payments on all your credit cards. This is going to allow you to keep expanding the credit line on each of the credit cards, so that way they become more valuable. And you can actually increase your revenue over time. Over the last 3 years, as I've kind of figured this game out, I've been able to increase my income and get more and more of these cards. Now, what do I do with all these? Well, they're in other people's names, but they're your account, so you gotta be careful with them. Again, these are all canceled. I cancel them at the end of the month, but I hold on to them, because this is high technology and I just don't really want to waste them. But I use them for different things. I think eventually I'm going to make an art piece with them. And I also use them for dummy wallets. when you travel, you get your wallet and you fill it up with credit cards. And when you're traveling, if you get robbed, I like to travel a lot. You can just give them your dummy wallet full of credit cards and they'll think they got the best of you. So find something useful to do with these. They're pretty awesome to have all these credit cards. I hope this helps. This has been a really good strategy for me. It's helped me quite a bit. I'm really grateful to my friend Dr. Sean for showing me, and I hope that it works out for you. And if you have any questions, please comment below. From Los Angeles, California, this is Dr. Ernesto. Thank you. Goodbye.